I'm just going to wait a few moments until people start filtering in. I all hope you're having a great day. Hey, just keep it real. How are you? I'm so glad you made it home just in time. Hey, Beezer. Good to see you. Thanks for making it. I know, I thought I'd try out this different time. Hi, Samantha. Good to see you. Um, I'm just really excited. Thought I'd try it with the family, this is not their norm. Usually we relax after dinner, but don't worry, everybody is fed and watered. So the evening can go on. Hi, Highland Girl. Hello. I'm so excited about this topic tonight about potential medical concerns. And this was based off of my family's experience and what I've learned regarding my type of dwarfism, but not all other kinds. But it was just based off of my experience. And I thought today would be I didn't know where and what I wanted to do for my live tonight because I just felt, I wasn't sure. But then last night I watched Little People, Big World, and Amy Roloff had made a comment, and it was just a generalized comment to her husband, Chris, about medical concerns as she gets older. And I thought, oh, because I know some of you all watch um, Little People, Big World, and y'all had talked about that the other day. And I thought, oh, here's a really good opportunity to follow a little bit more in depth with regards to that. So I thought that would be a really good thing. But one of the things and I was just talking to Just Keep It Real today, and she had stated, I had told her, I said, when I gave birth to twins, I had no idea how to parent little people or people with dwarfism because my life never felt different. I didn't know life any other way. And I was very fortunate not to have the severe medical disabilities that a lot of people have had in their life with the same type of dwarfism that I have. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to talk about that because Amy Roloff and I both have the same type of dwarfism. So then you all can kind of see what potential um, medical concerns that we may have. And I'll talk about my kids too and some of the medical concerns that they've encountered. And I did talk to my daughter about it, and her and I kind of put a list together. So I thought that was kind of really nice that it was some things I had to really think about that I forgot about. But it can be rough, and it was rough. And so to talk about medical concerns that I have dealt with, which I don't know, as I get older, I feel like I have more allergies, hence the reason I'm so stuffy, because my sinuses just explode. Or so it seems. It's just like I'm stuffy all the time, and I can't stand that. But that's just allergies, which I never had when I was younger. So that was that's an adjustment, but that's what everybody else has, those dang allergies. And just so you know, anytime you want to ask a question in the chat, please do so, because I like to engage with all of you, and that makes it a lot of fun as well. But so for me, my life was normal all always. Yes, I had the occasional hip replacement, but who doesn't have that? Maybe some of you've never had that, but I needed that very much. And, but otherwise, common situations that little people have, I've not experienced those. But I kind of wrote together a list, and I kind of wanted to start from the beginning, because when I gave birth to my kids, I really wasn't quite sure. I did know that when they were born, you really had to support their heads, because people with achondroplasia have usually a little bit to extremely large heads. And my kids didn't have that, but they weren't able to hold their head like your average newborn. So when I held them upright, I always supported their head, or if I passed them on to somebody, even up until they were a year old, I had done that. Everybody knew, hold their heads, or that kind of thing. And then our pediatrician said, "Oh, your girls have low tone." And I said, "Oh, I thought that was normal," because their arms and their legs were very floppy. So, when you take a little baby and you pull them up, even young, like at, let's say, 2 months old, and you grab them by their hands and you start to pull them up, my kids didn't like try to pull with you. They just kind of flopped a lot. So we just didn't do that too much. And they had told us that they could never sit unsupported until they were a year old. And I'm like, what? They didn't even want us to put them in a swing in case their head flopped forward and they couldn't keep, and then you have no idea. So there was a lot that I had to learn at the beginning of their lives. Weight was a huge issue. Like when I was transitioning my daughter from formula to milk, they had recommended she do skim milk because she didn't need the extra calories. Even though she was only 10 pounds at a year old, her growth was so slow, like extremely slow, but didn't want them to have the extra weight, or potential weight for that matter. Hi, Gabi. Nice to meet you. Welcome to my channel. This is exciting, getting to meet new people. There's so many different people during the day as there is in the evening, but I'm excited to have you here. And different things, like my twins had ear tube surgery, and part of that is, there's the other thing too, like they told us, don't give your baby a bottle when they're laying flat on their back, because our ear canals aren't at an angle. People with achondroplasia, their ear canals aren't at an angle, they're straight across. Hence the reason for lots of ear infections. And like with my one daughter, those ear infections turned into seizures, and I mean, it was a lot. And so fevers, that kind of thing. But that doesn't happen to anybody. That's just my experience. I'm not a medical professional. I'm not trying to give any medical advice at all. I'm just sharing my story of what went on in my family's life. And part of that, with achondroplasia, you find a lot of spinal stenosis is very prevalent in people with achondroplasia, not only cervical stenosis, but also lower lumbar. And that's the narrowing of the spinal cord. So as our spinal cords, the vertebrae around them get smaller, thus not allowing enough movement for nerves and spinal fluid to get through. So oftentimes people, especially with lower lumbar, will start losing feelings in their legs, or the inability to walk, or have bladder function. Again, I've never experienced that. My one daughter, she had that surgery. She had a laminectomy where they removed part of your vertebrae to give your vertebrae more space, for all the nerves and all of those things. But she also had kyphosis as well. And what they did is they wound up putting, when she was 16, they put rods in her back. And kyphosis is where your back kind of bumps out like this. Instead of your spine being straight up and down, her spine kind of curved outward. And so, like, kind of, when you're sitting straight, like right now, I'm sitting straight up, but if I'm leaning forward, that's kind of how she appeared. And it was the tight, and that, so they had to put rods in her back to straighten her back as best they could. Gabi, leave it to bees are awesome. I love Little People Big World. I followed the family for many years. That's exciting, because the reason I decided to do this topic about potential medical concerns in people with dwarfism is because of the comment that was made on that show last night. I watched it. We typically don't watch it, and it's not because I don't love Amy Roloff. That's not it. We just have other things, and we get the whole Little People thing. But sometimes we do, and a couple people in yesterday's chat had talked about questions about things that they had heard on their podcast, on Zach and Tori's podcast, or comments that were made in a previous show. And I thought, oh, and today's conversation worked out perfectly, but this is because of what my family's experience was. So great. I'm glad to hear that. And Gabi, too, if you have any questions, please feel free. Ask in the chat. I try to do my best to keep up with the chat. And tonight's the first time I've gone a little bit later in the early evening. So I thought I'd try to catch the people today in the evening to maybe give other people an opportunity for joining, as opposed to our early afternoon crew. The other thing, with people, when you have achondroplasia, the type of dwarfism we have, is your mouths are smaller. So when we're kids, we have a lot of dental issues. And in my situation, I had braces for over 10 years because they try to take the lowers off, and then they would just all go back. Island Girl, I appreciate your educating us. Thank you. Told my mom about your channel. Oh, how cute. That's so sweet. And thanks for sharing. There's a lot of people out there um, as well, and that don't get the opportunity. And Beezer said she loves the early evening hours too. I'm glad. I'm glad you guys do. The boys, not so much, but they'll get over it. They can find other things to do than harass me. It's so cool. But, with braces, it's caused having braces, and that was back when they made braces that wrapped around each tooth. So I've had tons of teeth pulled, lots of them, lots of that experience. But because my mouth was so small, that, hey, cheesecake, please. How are you? Welcome to my channel. That it just caused so much damage because they were on there for so long during um, that peak time in our life, but in my life. But, it's kind of nice that, how do I want to do this? That it back in the day, it cost my parents like $1,200 for me to have braces on for 10 years. Nowadays, when my daughter had braces, that was like 5 grand, and that was for like 12, maybe 18 months. Maybe it was 16, I don't know. And then if she needed braces again, it would be another $5,000 all over again. So I feel my parents got a really good deal for as long as I had them. They never really came off. And I still have permanent braces on the back of my upper front teeth that they put there. So, like the first 5, 6 teeth that are there have braces still stuck behind. They haven't taken them off. Some of them have fallen off, but they don't want to damage my teeth more than it had been. So, yes, our faces are dwarfed from this part to our upper jaw. And it's very obvious that when you look at it, you're like, oh, and then to have all those teeth pulled when we were kids, and my kids have the same thing. So, yeah, it's just different. The way they do things now is so much better. Even the cement that they put on your teeth doesn't pull off your enamel, like, which has happened to mine. And so that was one thing that I was thinking about too. And I know you who watch Little People Big World, last night, again, they were talking, Zach and Tori were talking about their son and his legs that were bowed. Huge concern for a lot of little people. Again, I don't have bowed legs, but like my son does, and my twins, when they were born with their feet over their shoulders. And so when they came out, their feet were like twisted out like this. So their feet went there, it was like their heels were together. So my daughter Olivia, because she tried to walk, and you'd watch her walk the first couple of years of her life, and it was painful looking. Like if I had to walk like that for 1 minute, I think I would die. And she walked with her legs out like this. And then before she went into first grade, she had her legs straightened and turned around. So her toes, when she stood on her legs, went straight out like they're supposed to, and not way out to the side. So that was kind of what happened. Just keep it real sad. I was gonna say in person, you and Steve don't look like your legs are bowed at all to me. What causes that? My opinion is we carry average size torsos on shorter legs, and that's a lot of weight to bear for the short amount of space. Let me just hide this, your comment. So, like, instead of weight being distributed over like this, the distance that the weight is distributed is on this short, and it just puts more pressure, which then causes the what I believe your legs to bow because of the weight that it's carrying. It's like a good example, me and Maria. Like if her and I, my friend Maria, I should say, if her and I were to sit next to each other, we'd be the same height, even though she's 5'7" and 130 pounds, and maybe I'm 104 pounds, and I'm only 4'3". It's her weight is more distributed throughout her body. But does that make sense? Just keep it real. But yeah, you didn't see that. Like Steve has no lower spine issues, but we all do. Hi, Colin. Good to see you, my friend. It's good. Yeah, Steve and I've been very, very blessed. And thank goodness that we've had a good, easy life. We really have. And I'm fortunate, knock on wood, tomorrow I could just wake up and be all falling apart. But we all know this. Just keep it real knows that it's happened to me. And so those are a few things. Something interesting that I don't think. The other thing is associated with physical. Now I'm just talking about physical differences. Is our airway tends to be smaller, and our flexion in our neck isn't always best to be put it. So when you have sedation, they use much smaller tubing and different types of sedation because, again, an average sized person in their torso, sedation spreads throughout, where with us the amount of sedation doesn't necessarily have as far to go because our limbs are much shorter. Island Girl, I see you have a question. Absolutely. That would be great. But yeah, so sedation. Some people I know, as you've seen on the show, have hydrocephalus. My children nor myself have ever experienced that at all. So that was something. I'm trying to think. When I was talking about small mouths, if you ever heard my mom, she would tell you her small mouth sure could say a lot. And I can. Like, I love to talk. I talk to myself. I drive in the car. I think people who go by us looking and see this crazy lady just talking, but I talk because I have to prepare myself. I really need to know how I'm going to present myself when I get out of the car to meet people. What am I going to say when I go to the doctor's office? What am I going to say? I need to make sure I have it all in my brain so that it becomes kind of easy and things can flow. And even trying to put this channel together and just keep it real knows, well, I have to have an outline. Like tonight, I wanted to make sure I always am prepared. Yes, just keep it real. I'm always prepared. And if I don't like the way it looks, I got to redo it. Even from the pens that I use to write on paper. Hey, Crazed, it's good to see you. We're having a great time. I'm so glad you can make it. Very much so. I know everybody is so excited to see you. I'm so fortunate. I have so many good friends that are in my chat, and I'm so blessed. Um, and a lot of you, I can't wait to meet you someday all online. I mean, some I have, of course, but some of you I haven't met in person, and I would love to do that. Definitely. But those kind of are the physical things that physically are traits of people with achondroplasia. Now, an unphysical trait, and that is a lot. I'm not going to say every because it's not. And that is about ADD and ADHD. And I kind of want to go into that next. It's kind of interesting. Samantha, I really appreciate it when the live starts on time. Thank you. I do too, and I try to get be on time and be out there and share right away. I wish I could find a beginning though. Eventually I'm going to need somebody to help me create an intro and things of that nature. But you know what? It's going to take time and get there. Island girl, I always talk to myself out loud to prepare to walk in a store, doctor. Absolutely. Don't you think? Like, you always have to be prepared. And if I'm not, I'm a hot mess. I might as well cancel an appointment because I wasn't prepared. It was the last minute. And I look at a paper calendar all the time, on and off throughout the day, just in case. I just wanted to make sure I'm not missing anything. I really don't want to do that at all. Oh, thank you, Craze, for enjoying the discussions. And I don't know if you were here earlier. I was trying to play off of last night's episode of Little People Back Big World when Amy was talking about potential medical concerns as she gets older. But you know what's so amazing is a lot of these medical concerns that I have talked about earlier. I'm very blessed, haven't been a part of me, but my girls definitely have had a lot. Just keep it real. I'm never prepared. I just go with the flow. Oh, yes, you do. And it drives me crazy. I hate to say it. Just keep it real always says, Susie, just go for it. Just go for it. I'm like, I can't just go for it. What do you mean? I can't do that. But this I can do. And I'm really enjoying everybody with all their questions. And if you say one day, can we not talk about little people? It's getting to be a lot. You all can pick a discussion because I love to talk and I'm sure I can figure things out. So, but ADD and ADHD, what I had learned is actually when my twins were 2, we had gone to our first national little people's national conference. And my whole excitement, hi, Roger, welcome for coming in. I was like really excited to go to parents' meetings. I wanted to gather up as much information about raising a little person as I possibly could. And I thought, oh, this is great. I can do this. And I went into my first meeting, and there were probably 200 other sets of parents in there. And they all looked at me and said, how do you do it? Because I was the only little mom in that parents group. And I said, I don't know. My parents raised me. I didn't raise my kids. I'm new to this. Like, I need to learn as well. And so then, and I wasn't even the person at that conference facilitating at all. And of course, it was average sized people who were facilitating, because in the parents group, people, little people, like to go to a parents meeting. We usually are Johnny on it of where we need to be. Thanks, just keep it real. You're so sweet. Um, it's I don't know. I don't know how to raise my kids who have dwarfism. How did you raise your child? And oh, your child's 5. How does it work with school? What do you need to do? Have you ever run into these types of things? Well, after my son was born, um, I was facilitating a parents' meeting. Now, mind you, at that point, um, he's 6 years younger than my twins. So, I kind of got it. And I had gone through a lot of medical horror with my twins, unbelievable things, and that no parent should ever have to go through. But I did. Of course I did. It would only be me and my family. But yeah, like, just keep it real said. You didn't know how to raise average size kids. You were just kind of figuring it out. And it's true, you do. I'd ask my mom and dad, and they said, we'd make you do everything. Yep. And as Samantha Stevens says, unfortunately, none of our children were born with instructions. No, they should, though, don't you think? At least. How do you get through it? You really do. But as my son, and I could talk about what my kids have gone through and the importance of making sure that you get to see a genetic counselor in your area to learn more, or the Midwest Skeletal Dysplasia Clinic, which is in Madison, Wisconsin. Fortunately, we live close. So when my twins were a couple months old, we kind of knew what to look for. They had extensive x-rays and MRIs to make sure. But of course, my kids, 5%, they were in the 5 percentile for anything that could possibly go wrong. Okay. That's how it was kind of navigating my way through parenting. And it was all, it wound up, life was great. I wouldn't be where I am today if those things, unfortunately, at my children's, you know, that they had done that. But as my son was getting older, my goodness, he had so much energy. Nothing. He would only watch like high speed TV, anything that was fast going, and he wouldn't pay attention in school, and he just didn't. He had tons of anxiety. And I was speaking at a parents group for our local region, and other parents were talking about the same thing with their children who were little. And I had talked to the geneticist saying, is this real? Why is this? And he was saying that the ADD and ADHD gene in the genetic, I don't know what it's called, I'm not a doctor, but the genetic thing, are right next to the like F3, F4 gene. I might be misspeaking. I should have looked that up, but I think it's the F3, F4 gene. And it rides right next to that gene where our children really are at. So, of course, my kids would have ADD and ADHD. Just keep it real. The funny thing is, mine and Susie's kids are grown, and they've had and still have similarities, being hers being little and mine being average. Yep, kids are hard, period, especially now. I will tell you, it's worse parenting adults than it was when they were little. It's true. Parenting is hard. They have more drama. No, crazed, you're right. Our children don't get easier as adults. It's harder. It but you thought when they were babies it was hard. And then when they became toddlers, and then when they became to go to school, and then when they got to middle school, and oh no, nothing has been harder than them being adults. It's true. They're it's always worse. That's because they don't live with you a lot of times anymore. They call you. Everything for them is their lack of planning, is your emergency. And I'm like, or they're not supposed to call while they're driving down the road. They call me first before they call 911 because they were in a car accident. I'm like, hang up, call 911. Oh my gosh, call your mom. It's kind of cute. Yes, it just gets worse. I just paid $410 worth of turnpike fees for my three kids on four cars. It's out of control. Oh, yes, it is. But a cheesecake, please. That's your fault, as my child would tell me. Well, if you wouldn't have done that, um, it wouldn't have been, if you would have made us pay for it, but then when we make them pay for it, it's always thing. Hey, Mint Mama, I hope you're doing good. Thanks for, oh yeah, just definitely rest. I'm so glad um, you're here. And so, yeah, you definitely need to rest. But thank you for checking in. You're so sweet. Thank you very much. Crazed. I always know when the girls are arguing and all call at the same time, trying to get their side out first. Why don't they call anybody else first? They always call us first. For what? Who's like the favorite child? I know, just keep it real. Her kids think she has a favorite child, and the favorite child is typically um, the most, how do I say this? The most needy. That's great, right? To put it. Oh, Mama, thank you. Prayers for a great live. And oh yeah, I learned today Beezer is super mod. She's got a cape and all that stuff. I had no clue. I had no clue. So yeah, my dear, I hope you start feeling better soon. Thank you. And as Samantha says, the sweetest reward is when they say they understand now why we did this or that. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's so crazy how they would Um, they do, but they don't understand it right away. Like I can tell you, my daughter, she gets mad at me and goes, "Mom, fine, bye, click." And 5 or 6 hours later, she'd be like, "Mom, I'm really sorry. You were right." And then she told me the other day she doesn't like it when I give her advice or I push her to get something accomplished. Like, you need to get a doctor appointment out there. Just a cute craze. I saw a tow truck outside of my three older ones have their own houses, and her a car is getting dropped off instead of at the shop. Yeah, why can't they just do that? It's like they have to get, like, what are you gonna do? Fix it or just look at it and make it all snap your fingers and go, voila, you're fixed, right? That's really funny. It's very funny. Yeah, this parenting thing with adults is really crazy. Beezer, thanks. Yeah, everybody hit the like and subscribe button and then make sure to turn on your notifications so you'll know when I go live. I'm so excited for everybody to be in here. And Mama, thank you, my dear. I really appreciate it. Samantha's laughing. So, Samantha, does your daughter think she's the favorite ever? Or does she just know it? It's cute. Yes. Oh my gosh. I would be so mad if my child was um, drop their vehicle off here because they know I'll either look it up on YouTube and tell them how to do it, or um, the goal is when they do that kind of thing, the intent is they hope that you will pay for it. I have learned that. Roger Bunny, you have ADHD and hyper all the time. Yep. I know what that's like. I know being the mom of someone like that, it gets to be a lot. It really does. It gets to be a lot. And yeah, but there's certain things. Who would have thunk that I give my son a monster, let him drink monster energy drinks just to calm him down, like just relax. And then my daughter has ADD where she just really struggles at focusing. You know, that's like the huge thing. And that's a big struggle for her to stay focused, get done what she needs to get done, doesn't want to write a list because it's just challenging. My kids all say I have a favorite, and I tell them I dislike them all equally. That's a good response. That's a good one. Yeah, I dislike you all right now. I don't know. I would say I did. No, I would just be flat out like I dislike not. I dislike all of you. Island girl, a very wise former client of yours, taught me to not give unsolicited advice and setting boundaries. Yeah. That boundaries thing with me and my kids is non-existent. And even if I did set up boundaries, they'd break them all the time. They really would. That I can tell you very, very much. Craze, I bought my four kids shirts for Christmas. The shirt said, I'm the favorite. Shh, don't tell the others. Love, Mom. That is super cute. That would be fun. That's a really good idea. Very much so. Great idea. I'll have to write that down for next year. You were talking about ADHD and stuff. I've been reading up on that microdosing for mom site that's popular in many places, but not legal here. But many have good results doing that. I will say, my son does that. Yes, it is not legal here, let me tell you, but totally different adult child. Very, very, very different. And I knew within the first week, I'm like, what's wrong with you? You're so sweet and you're not hyper and your your anxiety is subsiding. He would get anxiety just to go to grandma's house. And there's nothing bad at grandma's house. Like anxiety to ride in a car for an hour, anxiety to get up to go to work, anxiety to go to work, and then anxiety to come home. Like nothing can be done slow enough or fast enough. But yes. And Beezer, I do have a favorite. It does change daily. Yeah, pretty much. That's how I feel. Like sometimes I'm like, I don't like you right now. I do say that. I just really don't like you. But usually it's one of your four-legged children. Or Beezer, that baby that you take care of. Love it. The gas stations and CBD stores have been selling the mushroom gummies now, though that those here, right, crazed in our area because that's really interesting because I drink mushroom coffee, but it's not the illegal kind of mushrooms, but it's safe. It doesn't meet the guidelines of being bad. So that would be interested in there. Just keep it real. I'm here for micro dosing. Yeah, I can tell you it works. It works especially for people with that I've experienced in my family. Very much so. It really works. Beezer. Even he was a demon today. Oh my gosh. I love it. That's because you're his Grammy and he can do everything. Oh, you just bought some at a vape store in Port? Okay. No, definitely. I will check it out. We have a lot of shops here in Waukesha. Definitely. I will check it out. That would be interesting to see how it works. Right. Yep. Mushroom coffee does offer anti anxiety properties. I love it. Yep. I think we drink the same kind of mushroom coffee, and I love it. Roger, little love bunny. I sleepwalk and it scares my sisters because I have epilepsy seizures. Oh, I'm sure it does. I'm sure. Definitely. And like my daughter seizes even when my special needs kiddo, when you flip on a light too fast or depending on what kind of movie we're watching with the lighting effects can cause a lot of those things as well. And it's hard to keep seizures under control. It really is. Laugh out loud cheesecake. Same with my kids, significant others. That's good. Yeah. I heard good things about the coffee. I will send you the mom's link for microdosing and products, etc. I've been following. Yeah, that would be, yeah, definitely do that. Definitely. That would be good. I actually was going to reach out to you today. I'll reach out to you tomorrow. And that would be a great thing to talk about and how it works for you and like how it could potentially work for um, my adult children. Hi, I shit you not. I just love your name. That is so cute. It's very cute. Adorable. I know I've seen you in here a couple of times before. I still kind of laugh at it. Very much so. Let me see. I'm trying to think. What else did I want to talk about? I thought I had more. Does anybody, those are the only medical concerns that are related to people with dwarfism, and some of them are very common to other people, just average size people in average size world, like seizure activity, hydrocephalus, spinal stenosis. Like, I don't know, it was probably like 5 years ago that I had a follow up MRI, and it showed that I had mild to moderate spinal stenosis. And I was like, woohoo, I'm in a good place. Hey, Mirandy, welcome in. You're so cute. It's good to see you this morning. So, there are just different things that change what happens in a daily occurrence that also happens to people who are average sized. Cray says, what does your family think of you starting a channel? Are they excited and supportive? They love it. My son, maybe not so much because I think he thinks I'll embarrass him, which don't give me any lip because then I'll just go psycho. And of course, but no, I wouldn't embarrass my children. Just don't tell any stories that are embarrassing. But his girlfriend already tells me embarrassing things about him, and then she wants to know things about her. And it was cute. It's very cute. But Steve is extremely supportive. My family, my mom's not quite sure what YouTube is. Um, she doesn't even know how to get to this point to like watch my channel. But when I go and see her in person, I'm going up there next weekend or next week during the week for 2 days. I will sit down with her and show her how to look up YouTube on her iPad, and then she can go from there. But she's typically an all day, every day in her little world of Facebook, which is cute. She knows more what's going on in the Facebook world than I do sometimes. Hey, Ray Ray, it's so good to see you. Thanks for coming in, my sweet friend. Rogers, yeah, I was told to say little people, yes. Because a lot of the terms that were used, let's say in the 1950s, for different groups of people, that terminology was common then and it was acceptable then, but today we are becoming more educated on more similarities than we are on differences. but yet people are curious about what makes it, um, why little people, why not the M word? Well, the M word is just like other racist terminology that's used around the world as a derogatory sense. So that's what works the best. But typically, if I were to introduce myself to you, be like, hey, I'm Susie. Nice to meet you. So, oops, I skipped around a little bit here. Craze. I only use YouTube for DIY and how to fix things. And my daughter left it on one night over a year ago, and now I ended up on a drama channel. And I never even knew that side of YouTube existed. True. Same here. About a year and a half ago, I only thought YouTube was for fixing cars and doing home improvements and making things. And I had no clue that there's a drama community. And then there's so many communities as well that I really like, called the SPTV community and the Law Nerd community. I love Law Nerd. Emily D. Baker, I found her, and oh my gosh, I love her. And so there's so many other good things out there, and I'm really into the anti-Scientology. I'm all about creators who talk about their faith. And one of content creators who talk about Judaism, Orthodox Judaism, really intrigues me, and I totally love that. Yeah, Mirandy, you love Emily too. Oh my gosh, she's the best. I love her. I shit you not. I didn't even know there were as many types of dwarfisms. No, you didn't speak out of line at all. I use the term dwarfism because from a skeletal dysplasia point of view, which is part of bone growth, I have a type of dwarfism. And yes, there are many types of dwarfisms. And not only that, if you get really into genetics, two different types of dwarfisms can create a whole new type of dwarfism, depending on the type of dwarfism. So it can get kind of crazy out there, so I kind of stick up with my own. And my goal is to going to also be interviewing several of my friends and known acquaintances, people who I've worked with, um, and some little people with a different type of dwarfism than what I have or in my family. I just really love that. It's getting cold here. I have the whole patio door open. It's chilly as the sun is going down. Let me see here. Leave it to Beezer. You came into the YouTube community 2 years ago. Yeah, it would be 2 years ago for me, like in July with that whole Dre McCrae thing. Yes. So that was something. Definitely. Let me see. Mirandy loves Emily as well. I love Recovery Addict and Brandy Churchwell. Both do a great job streaming live trials. Yes, most definitely. I love watching that kind of stuff. I have found that there's so much more out there. But Emily D. Baker, she was probably the second besides Molly Golightly, who started all this. Then I got hooked on Emily D. Baker when the whole Josh Duggar stuff came out. And then I would continue to watch her because I love watching her. The Johnny Depp trial, like, pushed me over the edge. every day it was so exciting, and it was exciting to watch everything on YouTube. It was so awesome. Just keep it real, son. Not at all. I shit you not. It's good to be curious. Just don't be like the M word. It's derogatory. Great comment. I am super curious all the time. I'm very nosy. And when I ask questions, I'm very curious. Like, hey, I've never seen you before. How are you? Nice to meet you. So, why did you choose, even out in public, or great shoes? I love them. And where did you get those? And I'm so curious all the time. I really am, because I feel like I need to know. And I'm in the business of need to know. Definitely. So, yeah, it's always good to be curious, because if you don't ask, you have no idea. And then you leave and then you forget about it and you're like, oh, I should have asked. Bees are, I'm sick of drama. I will watch paint dry first. That's good. I like rewatching Johnny Depp and some of his responses and facial expressions from trial. Oh my gosh. It was a slam dunk, that whole thing. It really was. Definitely. Susie, did you watch the Daryl Brooks trial? Oh my gosh. I watched that when Emily D. Baker did that. And, oh, he he never apologized to the families for killing those 6 people. And I'll never forget that day. It was the craziest day. We didn't go to the Waukesha parade, but we were home and I went to go somewhere. And of course, we don't necessarily watch the local news. And my mom's like, you're never going to believe this. Some guy just killed a bunch of people in the Waukesha parade. And I knew my friend Kathy was at the parade. They go every year faithfully. And she's like, it was horrible because her daughter, who's in college, was with her friends and a lot of things. And it was so sad. And then Daryl Brooks, he should have been locked up well before, I want to say, the Waukesha Police Department, when he was beating his girlfriend. They should have arrested him then. It just needs to be done. They knew it, and then several hours later, he's driving through a closed street, driving through the parade route, killing the dancing grannies and a child and other adults. It was so sad. So, so sad. Island girl, you're hopping off. Well, I hope you have a great rest of your evening and stay safe. Um, oh, here. Yes, crazy and beauty. I'm seriously over it all. We need our own community. What should we call it, though? Exactly. We're just nosy about each other. I think that would be in the nosy drama, not in the non-drama nosy community of real life experiences, not made up ones. Oh, Miranda, you came here with the Chris Watts case. Was that because of what Molly Golightly did or other things? I've kind of looked back into that whole perspective, and I really am not sure what really happened. Well, I do believe I don't know what I believe with that. That is just really hard. Beezer, my favorite creator, took a break today. I hope she comes back. Tragic. YG, you better come back. I know, don't you hate that when a creator that you really enjoy decides to take a break? Yeah, it makes me self. And Samantha, but he made an idiot of himself trying to represent himself. He was horrible. He was. And that judge, Doro, she was so patient and she was so good. And she wanted to make sure that he wouldn't be able to appeal the trial. And yeah, definitely. Her patience, man, she's a really good judge. She really, really is. Let me see here. Was the lady who killed another with eye drops hearing held in Waukesha, do you recall? Was the lady who killed another with eye drops? No, I've never even heard of that. Another lady who killed another with eye drops. Hmm. No, not that I'm aware of, but I'll ask my mom. She's all over the news. She knows. I'll have to ask her, have you ever heard about the woman from Waukesha who killed another lady using eye drops? That's crazy. But you know that case of that slender man? Um, my son was, I think, in fifth grade, and my friend Kathy, her daughter Lindsay, was in seventh grade. And the girl who was victim of the other two friends who were they were in middle school, sixth grade, trying to kill her to sacrifice her to Slender Man. Because if they did that, she would, that's what Slender Man in their brain told them what to do. It's horrible. It was horrible. Scary children. And those girls, I fear, was very, very, they were not well. And their parents, I think, fell short. Oh my gosh. Did she really take down most everything except for two shorts? Aw, poor thing. I enjoyed Tragic. I love what she did for her community and everything. How close are you to Madison ish? An hour. Like a good solid hour. About it's about an hour exactly west. My mom lives 20 minutes north of Madison on Lake Wisconsin, and we live east of Madison. Yeah, we're fairly close. Samantha says, yes, Judge Doro on that one, too. She was sentenced to life, essentially. Yep, pretty much. Definitely. It was Jesse Krzyzewski or something. I just looked. Was charged in November in Pewaukee. It was interesting. I will have to look at that because I'm nosy about stuff like that. I need to know. And I need to know what people were thinking when they did that. Crazed, your daughter lives in Madison. That's my kids' dad and stepmom live in Sun Prairie, which is right next to Madison. So we're familiar. When the kids were little, we would meet in Johnson Creek, to swap the kids on their weekends. Um, She will continue to feed her unhoused friends. She's on her 8th or 9th year. That's awesome. She does such an amazing job. Um, do you know where Dubuque, Iowa is? Yes, it's right on the Wisconsin, right off the Wisconsin Iowa border along the Mississippi River. Yeah. You would take from Madison, you would take 51 south, I think, all the way to Dubuque. I haven't been there in a couple of years, but yes. Beezer, you go to Dubuque, Iowa often, or you used to go often, or to Madison? Oh my gosh! Well, if you ever make it again, we will definitely need to connect. That would be so much fun. I always think everybody lives in Georgia because I've met so many people from there through the YouTube. It's kind of interesting. Okay. Oh, Beezer, I hope she still shares that with us. Again, I think you guys are talking about tragic. It's not going to happen. Oh, that's such a bummer. Oh my gosh. Did you go to college there, Crazed? Or you were just partying with friends? I drank out of my first shoe at the Coliseum bar there. That's funny. Oh my gosh. Are you serious? Madison is home for you? Oh my gosh. I hope I get to. The next time I go there, I will let you know. That will be awesome. Very much so. Oh, that's exciting. Yeah. Beezer, my mom lives on Lake Wisconsin, which is between Madison and the Dells. The Wisconsin Dells, the water park capital of the world, if anybody knows that. Just keep it real. Well, you will have to tag along with Beezer to come to Wisconsin. That's for sure. Beezer, you'll have to check out Smut and Eggs in Madison. Oh, how funny. Smut and Eggs. I'll have to check that out myself too. Maybe my daughter has gone there. Oh, I was just visiting younger days and was a long weekend. That's oh, and your daughter lives in Stoughton near Madison. I know where that is. The Wonder Spot. I can't think what the Wonder Spot is or where it is. Is that with the upside down house kind of thing? I'm really not sure. The Wonder Spot. I would have to look it up. But still, there's Noah's Ark there. Like, it's been there since I was a child, and so many different water parks, and it's even bigger. And Mount Olympus, like, practically takes up all of um, downtown Dallas. It really does. It's building 100, building 200, part of this ginormous water park. It was where the water flowed the wrong way. I'll have to check that out. The Wonder Spot. I'll have to see where that is because maybe I've seen it. I would just have to look up a picture of it. The Wonder Spot was a tourist attraction in Lake Delton. Oh, where everybody's tipping over, right? I'm looking at it now. What happened to the waterfront? Owner Bill Carney sold the property for $300,000 when Lake Delton began expanding roadways and needed the area where the Wonder Spot sat. The Wonder Spot was closed in 2006 and later bulldozed in 2007. So, no, it was a gravity defying place, I guess. Interesting. I'll have to ask my mom if she knew about that because I knew I hadn't been there. Hey, try me, bitch. Welcome to my channel. I'm so glad you could see it. Very much so. We got through all of the things I wanted to talk about medical concerns that could potentially affect people with my type of dwarfism. And now we're just talking about places in Wisconsin where some of us have been, lived, that type of thing. It's kind of fun. I had no idea. Really, no idea. Balls would roll across the room, across a level floor. It was amazing. So, do you really think the floor was truly level or it was an illusion? Seriously, because when you look at the pictures, look it up on Google Wonder Spot. Everybody is like kind of tipping over, or the buildings look like they're tipping over. But they had a building like that more in downtown Dallas. It looked like the White House was flipped upside down and turned upside down. It was supposed to be like an illusion once you're inside, but not gravity. It was something with gravity. Yeah, I know. The only thing with gravity is, do you all remember when you could go to Six Flags and they had that ride that just spun around? And then it spun around. You were against a wall and it spun around and the floor dropped and you're still on the wall with nothing strapping you on. Now that was gravity. That's what I call gravity. Or one of those gravity tables that you would lay on. They had a level you could put on the floor, if I remember right. Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. Like Samantha Stevens said, the chat has been so easy and enjoyable. It has. It's so much fun. And unlike a lot of things, it's still, I don't know, I'm free. I'm an open book. I'm not afraid of being doxxed. I am who I am. And I want to try to educate and be educated from my subscribers as well. You talked about the Gravitron. I'm not sure. Oh, that was the name of the ride. You're right. Does the house on the rock still have the infinity point with a glass floor? Yes. And I haven't been to the house on a rock for a long time, but it's still a great, it's a Frank Lloyd Wright home, and you find a lot of them throughout Wisconsin because if I'm not mistaken, he was born here, and this is a place where he did a lot of his best architectural design. And the house on a rock is unique, and I think it's unique to based on his personality. He had a lot of stuff, like lots of knick-knacky kind of things throughout his travels, and it's one of our favorite places to go that was designed by Frank Lloyd Wright. Is called Ishnala. It's a supper club up at the Dells, and it kind of sits over looking Mirror Lake, but it's a completely Frank Lloyd design, old Wisconsin supper club, which we love to do at least once a year. But when you do that, you have to go there and you wait 2 hours, sometimes three, just to be seated. And then it takes you an hour to find a place to park because you're in a woods. And this restaurant has amazing, amazing food. It's pretty awesome. And that's one of our family's favorite places to go for dinner and just enjoy like an old fashioned with a steak dinner. It's so good. The Gravitron, loud music and spin around, seat flipped up. That was a fun ride. I don't see anymore. Exactly. That's for sure. Samantha had said it has flowed naturally, which is great. Great. I'm glad you really enjoyed this. And Gabby, thanks for coming into my channel. I'm so glad you subscribed and liked. I'm trying to keep it on a pattern. Please, even after this live, put in the comments, do you like this earlier evening time frame to go live, or would you prefer earlier in the afternoon or later in the afternoon? So it would be awesome to know what people think, where we could set, and I can even put things around and make be more aware of the podcasts that little people do, like Zach and Tori, and then or what you see on Little People Back World, things that they talk about, and then just really the next day, because I think they're on Tuesdays. I'm not sure when Zach and Tori's podcast comes out, but we can do that too and just kind of like recap, and where I can answer some of your questions or maybe provide my perspective on what they said. I think it was really good when you talked about what do you tell children. I did write something down because y'all, a couple of you had asked in the comments about this, but one of the things that I wrote down from after it, and I read the, after my live, is the way you respond as a parent has a lasting impression on your child. So if you as a parent shush or redirect your child when they see something that they're curious about. Most children are very loud and curious. How I react and how that parent reacts, that child will always remember. So if I look like I'm agitated with a child for identifying me as a little person or a little mommy or something like that, the way I respond to them, there is going to leave a lasting impression. And if it were your child asking, the way you handle the situation, the way you respond is also going to leave a lasting impression for your child. My parents just knew I'd say something, the next thing they knew, they turn around and I was talking to a total stranger at the grocery store, or just talking, because I always did, like, hey, check out your shoes. My best one is when when my son was in high school, he would see some of his high school friends, and they have their jeans way below their butt. I'd be like, hey guys, looking not so good. Where'd you get your jeans? I think you need to get some that are a little bit smaller so you can keep them up. And of course, my son was embarrassed. Mom, please don't say anything to them. Well, I need to go where they got their jeans. They went to the wrong place. But yes, I do ask. And if I saw a woman with a beautiful coat, I'd compliment her and start talking with her, or a fun hat or something that I liked. But don't worry, if I don't like it, I really don't say anything, except for jeans. Gentlemen or boys that wear jeans that they have to hold up before they go down below their knees. That's what I can't get. So, oh, that's true. Go live when it works for me. I definitely will be continue doing that. But I thought it would be kind of fun to mix it up, maybe get some different perspective people in the chat. It would be a lot of fun because we all can learn from each other. Like crazed, your situation. I give you credit what you do. You have a grandbaby and a baby that are the same age. Blows my mind. And you watch both of them. So it must be like having twins. Seriously, I think that's so cute. And one of these days, I'll be a grandma, and that will be a lot of fun too. But you guys, it's been over an hour. It has been so enjoyable today. I just have to um, thank you for coming in. And if any of you have any questions you'd like me to address in future lives, go ahead, email me or text me. For those of you who have my number, and just say, hey, Susie, I have this question. Can we talk about it? Definitely, we can do that. Or I think this question, I've run into this. No, I love talking about things to make people educated, and I like to become educated and finding out more things about more people. But you all have been wonderful, and thank you again for coming into my chat. And no, definitely I will. And Beezer, thanks for spending your evening with Susie. I truly do appreciate it. And I had a lot of fun. Roger, it was fun having you in our chat. Nice to finally meet you. And Gabi, you are so welcome to be in here anytime. I love you guys. And I'm so looking forward to seeing you next time. Don't worry, everybody in my household is fed and watered. So my job is done for the day. You all enjoy and take care. Thank you so much. Have a good one. Bye.